Hi guys, it is Aoife from Fred Weasley Died Laughing, and I'm here with a book review for you guys today. So I did promise that I was going to do a bit of a review on the Seven Realms series by Cinda Chima, and so that is what I'm going to be doing today. So there are 4 different books in this series. The first book is The Demon King, the second book is The Exiled Queen, the third book is The Grey Wolf Throne, the fourth book is The Crimson Crown. And all of these books, I think they're all about 400-ish pages in paperback, but I flew through all of them. It didn't take me very long. It took me, I think, about 2 days to read all of them, because they are just, as soon as you start to read them, you just get completely sucked in and you just cannot stop until you put them down. So this book is a YA fantasy series, and I always have a bit of a problem trying to explain what is actually going on in this book, because I feel like there are just so many elements, and you're kind of better off just going in knowing to expect a kind of, a fantasy world, but then just taking everything in that you're reading as brand new information, so it's really, I think you're better off going in not knowing too much. So all I say is the 2 main characters are Han Alistair and Rhaisa, Princess Rhaisa. Obviously Rhaisa is a princess, and she is next in line to the throne. She's going to become queen, and she has a lot of different things to deal with. She is basically, her mother is obviously the queen, her father is kind of a clansman. There are these kind of almost native people in this land, so her father is part of that culture, so she's also part of that culture. She has spent time with the people, the different tribes in the mountains, but then she's also spent time in the castle and being treated as real royalty, real princess, so she knows a little bit of both worlds. She's a little bit badass, she's definitely up for a challenge, and it's very, very, very easy to like Princess Rhaisa. You go in expecting her to be a little bit spoilt and expecting you to get a little bit exasperated at her, but I actually fell in love with her. I would have loved for her to have been my friend. I kind of would have loved to have been her. She's kind of that kind of character, and she's really cool. I just really, really liked her. She's a real kind of badass, like, feminist role model, I think. A really real leadership in her, and yeah, I just loved reading about her. Her character development was absolutely brilliant throughout the series, I should say, from just this teenage girl to this strong queen, and she was just wonderful to follow. And the other character, Han Alistair, he is a little bit of everything. He's a street lord, and he's known as Cuffs Alistair, so he's a little bit of a hooligan. He is also spends time with the clans people, and his name there is Hunsalone, and then he is also just, a son to his mother and a brother to his sister, and to them he is simply Han. And he's really, really interesting. There's just so many different sides of Han. You get, each of these three names are part of his personality. See him turn each one on and off, but then the real him is just all of them meshed together, and it's really wonderful being able to see that and being able to, trying to anticipate which kind of Han he will be for different situations, and as he slowly comes into himself. And this is a world that also has magic in it, so there are wizards. So we kind of see how that plays into Rhaisa and Han's storylines and their relationship with each other. A majority of the first book, they are completely separate. We don't really see them together, and as each book progresses, we see them slowly kind of meet each other, become friends, and we figure out where their relationship is going, what they mean to each other, what their connection is, and it goes from there. This is the kind of series that each book, I feel like, is a really slow burn, but everything is just so addicting. You are just stuck fast to the book, even if there's not a whole load of action in it, even if it's just a lot of training or a lot of kind of political talk, and particularly in Rhaisa's chapters sometimes, and her, trying to learn how to be queen after her mother, and then, there's some training in the second book where each of them are training to do different things, so there's classes and school and stuff like that. But every single book is just so satisfying, and it's just one of those stories that just builds, it's like a brick on top of brick, and it just builds this expansive world, and this is a really amazing story, and it's a really, really solid story, and it's a really solid world. We get a pretty good idea, I feel, of the country that Rhaisa is supposed to be ruling, and kind of the tensions in it, tensions between the wizards and the clans people, tensions between wizards and everyone else basically, and how some wizards have exploited their powers, particularly some of the higher wizards, who tend to be connected to her mother, and how she sees that, how they try to exploit her as well, but she is just not for it. This is just one of those type of series. I started reading the series in January. I read the first book in January, and I read the very last book in November, the end of November. December. So really took me, I kind of spread this whole series throughout the year, and I really enjoyed that I did that, because it just meant I had this wonderful series throughout the year. I had such enjoyment out of it. Every single book, as I said, just kept me completely entertained. I completely fell in love with Han Alistair. I've talked about him before. He is my number one book crush of 2017, I think. Very much in love with him. Very much in love with Raisa as well, to be honest. As I said, I'd either like her to be her or to be her best friend, because she was amazing. There's so many other kick-ass characters in this. There are friends of Raisa's, soldiers of Raisa's who she becomes really good friends with, friends of Han, people in the clans, and we see just the different ways of life for everyone, because we're seeing so many different type of people in the world, and we're seeing how each one lives. We're seeing how in other countries beside this land there are people who hate wizards, there are people who hate magic, and how they are treated, and how this becomes a difficulty for Raisa and her people, and she has to deal with that. It's just this really amazing character building series. We just see them grow from the first book to the last book, and we see them becoming people who can rule and people who are respected, and it's just, you almost feel proud by the last book, because you follow them throughout this amazing journey. And I absolutely loved it. I gave each of these books, I think, like a 4.5 to 5 stars. I think I gave most of them a 5 stars, and I would 100% recommend people read this series, because I absolutely adored it. And yeah, I absolutely loved it. So please let me know if you've read this series and what you think of it. I would love to know. Leave a comment down below. Thank you guys so much for watching this review, and I'll see you guys again next time. Bye.